Hey guys, September 9th, welcome. Thought we were gonna maybe make it through this without seeing any rain this month, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Also doesn't appear to be the case that I can open the umbrella that I brought with me. So we'll just have to suffer through, right? I'm Tony, and all through September, I'm walking every day in memory of my son Sam. My wife and I lost our son Sam after a 4-year fight with neuroblastoma. He was 7 years old when he passed away, 3 years old when he was diagnosed. He passed away this last January. For the last 6 months of his life, we were traveling back and forth to New York City for his care, and we would walk the 3/4 of a mile from the Ronald McDonald House to the cancer center and back every day, rain or shine. And so here I am. A lot of times we would have conversations with people and they would say, man, I don't know how you do this. How do you keep everything sorted? How do you keep track of everything? And I'll tell you, life when Sam was in treatment was actually pretty, in a different way, but it was pretty simple. I had one job, right? Get up out of bed and put my feet on the ground. That was the only choice that I had every day. Everything else was already prescribed. Have him, at this place at this time, and we will poke him with a needle, put a mask on him and put him to sleep, access his port, bombard him with radiation, whatever was on the menu that day. I've told y'all before, it wasn't all about that, but it was there's something to be said for that having that schedule. That just, I don't know. It's not, easy's not the right word, but simple, prepared. There it is. Haha. Oh, this thing's broken. I have a broken umbrella. All right, well, that's no good. We'll just survive without it. I have to talk to my props department. Clearly this is a high budget endeavor. I apologize in advance if my phone gets wet and we cut out. Life without Sam is not so simple. We still have all of the normal day-to-day stuff that we've got to do: work, family, kids' sports. But there's always this feeling of something missing, like all the time. It's always there. And I, for one, know how hard I try to fill that with whatever I can. Work. Even, it's gotten so bad I'm even exercising. I've been, even before we started trying to do the moving thing for September, guys, I haven't ridden my bicycle in 10 years. And a few weeks ago I started riding. And I've always, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but none of that works, right? I might distract myself for an hour or two here and there, but it's always waiting when you come back. And I think worst is trying to go to bed at night when there's nothing else you can do. I've gotten to the point It's a little better now, but like I was at the point where I would lay down and sleep, try to sleep, and like all that would run through my head was Sam stuff. Like this wasn't for a couple weeks. This was like for 6 months. And so, you know, all I could do was turn on the TV, watch it until my eyes were like not able to stay open, and then shut it down, which, you know, it's not a good thing, not a healthy thing. But like, I don't know how you feel that in a healthy way. I think it just takes time. I'm saving some of my conversations about grief, I think, for later in the month. I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but I will say that I've learned a lot about grief. A lot of you guys know I'm a total nerd, and so when I have a subject matter that I want to learn about, I dig deep in. And so I've read a few books and attended a few classes. But the biggest thing I've learned is that there's 2 parts to grief and how well I'm doing on any given day. One of them is how strong the memories are and the grief itself, right? So that could be I see something that reminds me of him. I have a conversation that reminds me of him. I see a place where he should be and he's missing. That's one. And then the other dimension to this is my ability to cope on any given day. There are some days where I can smile and talk about Sam with nostalgia and kind of have a bittersweet remembrance. There are other days where just the smallest thought just sends me spinning out for a couple of hours. Like curled up in a ball a couple of hours. I'm having one of those kind of latter days today. I don't know, maybe the rain's got me down a little bit. But so, you know, it's not, been this concept for a long time about grief as a process that you just have to work your way through, and was prescribed steps and things like that. And that's actually, the person who actually came up with that concept, the stages of grief, has actually said that it's not what it was meant to be used for at all. Grief's not a process that you work your way through. It's more like something that's just there that you kind of tend to, you can't control it, but you can tend to it. And over time, I hope, find a way to live with it. And it's definitely something that we see come in waves, big waves and little waves. When Sam first passed, it was big wave. I think we were in shock for a couple days, and then it was sadness, and then there were a couple months in there that it wasn't so bad. You know, those were the bittersweet memory times, and talking about it and sharing stories with people. And then at about the 6-month mark, and I don't know how much of this is like self-fulfilling prophecy, because some of the stuff I read said it would be about the 6-month mark, but about the 6-month mark, it got really hard again. You know, I know our bodies do a lot of things to protect us from all kinds of stuff, a lot of emotional things, and I almost wonder if I haven't just been in shock for 6 months. And then the governors were released on some of this stuff, you know. So what I try to do, you know, I grew up on the Gulf Coast, so everything is like either a surfing, sailing, or swimming metaphor. Sorry for the sniffles. I also have a cold. And I think one of the best analogies I read is, you know, the grief it's like a rip current, right? It's gonna pull you where it wants to pull you, and trying to fight it is only going to wear you out. So take your time, keep your head above water until it takes you where you want to go, and then you work your way back to shore when it lets go, you know. And so that's what we try to do. COVID made for an interesting, interesting, I don't know if it's interesting, I'll let y'all judge, but when Sam died in January, right at the end. And so there were a couple months there where I worked from home. Maud was working at her school where Ben went, and Emmy was going to school in person until COVID hit. And so the house was silent, quiet. And you could feel it. It was just oppressive. And then when COVID came, and my whole family also got to work from home, I think that was helpful for me, to have them around and their support and hear sounds throughout the house. I know it was tough for Maud. Her being able to go to work was a way to help keep her mind off of things, and Sam, as if that could happen. But when she came back, he's everywhere in our house, guys. He's everywhere. And the only place we had to set her up some office space was actually in Sam's room. So I know that was tough. But, it also led to, I think, some healthy stuff. We had to clear some stuff out, clear some space. It took it took me 3 days to pack a box, because I would get some stuff put away and just be literally overcome, and have to stop. And there was one day in the middle I tried. I think I got 1 or 2 things in the box, and that was it. That was it. And it's still like that, I'll try to do something in his room or that he would have been involved in, and I don't know how long it's gonna be like this, and this was the all about Tony talk, I guess. Now, it's not just, I don't know how long it's going to be like this, and I don't want it to be like this anymore, but I certainly don't want it to be like this for anybody else. And that's why we're here, right? That's the truth of it, is that we're here, we're raising funds, we're trying to get everybody to share this so that we can raise awareness as well of what happens in these kids' lives and in their parents' lives and the families' lives, the siblings' lives. I can't make it all go away, but if I can make it just one tiny bit easier for one family, let's figure out how to do that, right? Let's figure out how to do that. This last week, we lost a little girl we were acquainted with through the Ronald McDonald House. I think I told you guys we're still on a lot of those Facebook groups, just to try to offer support and whatever our story and our experiences can help. That's why we're there. It doesn't feel good to be part of those groups a lot of times, because every once in a while we get a happy story, right? I've seen survivors from neuroblastoma. I've even seen some central nervous system relapse survivors of neuroblastoma. But the number of those posts compared to the number of scared and terrified parents because their kids have relapsed, questions about side effects. We had a close friend yesterday or the day before. She had a 7-hour bloody nose. She's just coming off of a treatment, and all of her counts are low, and her body just doesn't have enough platelets to clot. And so she took 3 blood transfusions to stabilize herself for a bloody nose. Can you imagine? Imagine needing a blood transfusion for a bloody nose, or a bloody nose that lasted a whole hour. Now make it 7. I think I've told you guys before, the National Cancer Research budget, pediatric cancer gets 4%. That's their piece of the pie. And that's just not enough. And so it's going to come through awareness to increase that number. And in the meantime, the funds that we raise can hopefully assist in research and also assist some of the organizations like Alex's Lemonade Stand, who we're raising money for, to help those families that are fighting on the front line, just to make things a little bit easier. All right, guys, we're back. I really appreciate you. We've seen way more shares on all this stuff than I ever could have imagined, so thank you. It looks like maybe I got back just in time, so we'll see you guys tomorrow.